Have you heard of Kokology? Kokology is the study of kokoro, which is Japanese for mind, or spirit. And it uses visualization to induce guided daydreams. We are going to devote today's session to Kokology, and I will guide you through a series of visuals and then ask you questions about seemingly innocent topics. Your answers will be analyzed after each visualization, and I guarantee, some pretty hilarious insights will be revealed to you about you. Kokology is designed to divulge your hidden attitudes about love, sex, family, work, and all the other mysterious elements of your life. As we move through each exercise, I want you to share the first thing that springs to your mind as your answer, okay? Don't try and predict what the visualization or what your answer might mean. This is only going to work if you are real with what immediately pops into your head upon hearing the questions. Got it? Beautiful. I did search high and low for the best Kokology scenarios, so I have 7 exercises to guide you through. They will be going from wholesome to a little sexier, a little more risque, the deeper that we get into them. So let's begin with a deep breath in and out. Relaxing. Closing your eyes if you feel called to. Just letting the day go now. Letting everything go now. Letting everything go. Easing into our skin. And let's start our session with a nice read. Finding a good book is like making a new friend, isn't it? There's this simultaneous sense of familiarity and discovery. It's like a window has been opened into a previously unimagined world, but one you always sensed was waiting for you. Sometimes it's almost like the book has chosen you at just the right moment. This right here, this is that moment. Because a book lies open right in front of you. Do you see it? Good. What type of story does this book contain? You begin to read the book, only to discover that you yourself are a character in the story. What kind of role do you play? You continue reading and come to a section where the pages have been damaged, making them nearly impossible to read. What part of the story does this happen in? You have just closed the cover after finishing the book. How was the ending? What does it mean? 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 Let's find out. While reading habits and preferences vary from person to person, books and reading were an inevitable part of life during your time in school. Books and school are inextricably linked. So, the answers that you gave in response to this scenario echo your own experiences in school. The type of story that you imagined reflects your general impression of your school years. Did your answer suggest you lived a comedy? a mystery, a horror, or a romance. It might have even been a tragedy. Whatever it was, the fact that you survived it helped develop your character, and that's all you can really ask for as a human, right? Experiences to develop. Now, the role that you saw yourself in is the image that you have of yourself as a student. So, were you the main character? A sidekick? Comic relief? Or a background character with a single line of dialogue on page 222? Maybe your character made an appearance in this first book only to be the main character in the sequel. A lot of options here, but I think you understand what I'm saying, right? Now, the scene described in the damaged pages mirrors a situation that hurt you. Broken hearts can hurt just as much as an act of violence, if not more. And even seemingly minor traumas, they can take a lifetime to heal. So, while it might not seem like this has any immediate connection to your life, you should take a few moments to reflect. It's more than likely that you'll end up discovering a painful memory that's buried but associated with the scene in some way. Taking a moment to reflect. The story's ending is an expression of any of the feelings of closure that you had toward your days at school. Did you answer something like, "And they rode off into the sunset and lived happily ever after"? I know it sounds a little bit cliche, but that would mean that you saw your school days as a success. Or maybe you envisioned your story where your character dies at the end. That might mean that you saw graduation as a chance to be reborn into a new life. Or was your ending a cliffhanger? Did you have a to be continued? That's probably the most accurate ending that you could have, right? Because your life continues on. You just have to wait and see how it plays out in the next chapter or the next book. Now to our next daydream. Now that you're out of school, you decide to embrace your artistic side and take a ceramics class. You have just finished crafting the perfect mug, and now you need to glaze it. You've decided on a blue glaze. Tell me, of the following patterns, which did you decide to paint on the mug? Your options are stripes, polka dots, checks, or wavy lines. Again, your options are stripes, polka dots, checks, or wavy lines. Which pattern do you choose? Beautiful. Blue is the color most deeply associated with the inner workings of the mind, from the imagination to intuition to intellect. The pattern reflects the mental structure and aptitude in its approach to creativity and problem solving. If you selected stripes, you favor a direct and clear-cut approach. This makes you an astute decision maker who is able to resolve problems and put plans into instant action. You are a natural leader and perceived as a pillar of strength when times get hard. If your pattern was polka dots, your strength lies in the adaptive, artistic nature of your mind. You might be perceived as eccentric, but you make a real contribution to the as a creator with a unique vision. That was polka dots, polka dots, polka dots. If you chose checks, 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 you excel at mastering everyday demands. Few people are able to organize their lives with such a quiet efficiency as you. As a result, you always seem to have the time, wealth, and compassion to share with those in need. And if you went with wavy lines, you are gifted in generating a comforting atmosphere to feel and express love. It's not that you crave attention or affection, but people do naturally feel good, taken care of, and supporting you. Just ask the people who know and love you. The world is a better place for your being in it. Moving now into the wilderness, deep in the mountains, deep into the mountains. Nature just has a power that draws us to her, doesn't she? After all, we are nature's children, born into her world, and then fed on her bounty. No matter what marvels technology may develop, getting back to nature just lets us feel truly alive. Medical science may make advances, but the best medicine will always be nature's healing power. Your next journey will take you back to that green world, and what better setting for you to rediscover your natural self. You set off to climb a mountain in search of a fabulously rare stone. What is your impression of the mountain as you stand at its foot? After a hard search, you still haven't found the stone, and the sun has fallen. What will you do next? All right, now you have finally discovered the stone you were seeking. What kind of stone is it? Describe its size, its weight, and its value. Size, weight, value. Now it's time to come down from the mountain and return home. What parting words do you have for the mountain? And what is its reply? So what has the mountain revealed about you? Your impression of the mountain shows the image that you have of your father. Did you find the mountain difficult and unforgiving? Or was it gentle and easily conquered? Maybe you had an idealized image of a magnificent peak that somehow seemed to welcome you and encourage you in your quest. Whatever it was, this reveals how you feel about the energy of your dad. The stone you were searching for represents your current and undiscovered talent or strength. Your response to this question reveals whether you will ever realize your untapped potential. For example, if you said that you would keep searching for the stone no matter what, you tend to show the same persistence and determination in your own life, never giving up even when your efforts seem fruitless. If you said you'd call it quits for the day, but you'd come back again in the morning to keep searching, then you are the type of person to pace yourself, spreading your effort out over a long period of time. You might be a late bloomer. If If you gave up looking for the stone altogether, you're in danger of never fulfilling your true potential. And how did you describe the stone? Your description of the stone shows your feelings of self-worth. How big and heavy was it? What did you think of its value? If you valued it at $20, you might not have heaping amounts of self-worth. But if it turned out to be a rare stone worth millions, you got confidence. Your parting words to the mountain reveal what you have always wanted to, but have never been able to say to your father. That one can be heavy. From the mountains to the beach. What an adventure we are having, moving from the mountains now to the beach. And thinking of the sea now. The sea, which holds a very special power over us. Starting to hear the soft crashing of the waves, allowing the sound to soothe you as you feel the fine spray of the water fleck and speckle its drops across your skin, and taking a deep breath of salty air as you begin to leisurely stroll down the beach now, noticing how quiet it is. It seems as if you've entered another reality, one where it's only you and the waves. As you scan the beach and start to take in the sand dunes, you spot a surfboard washed up on the sand. Take a moment now to describe the surfboard and the impression that it makes on you. Since the beach is so quiet and empty, you decide to take the board into the ocean. You climb onto it and paddle out. You want to try your luck on the waves. How are the conditions for surfing today? You manage to stand on the board, and you start to experience the thrill of actually riding the wave. But suddenly, you wipe out and tumble headfirst into the water. What do you think, feel, or attempt to scream as you struggle to find your way back to the surface? When you finally emerge from the water unscathed, you look toward the shore. There's a person there. You realize they've been watching you. Who is that person? And now, for what this reveals about you sexually. Apparently, there are strong psychological associations between the sea and sex. So, how you imagined your experiences in the sea informs your expectations and your desires in the sexual realm. Who would have thought? The sea is portrayed as feminine. This is throughout history. With this in mind, the surfboard is being interpreted as a phallic symbol. So, if you identify as female, your description of the surfboard corresponds with your image and impression of masculine characteristics. If you identify as a male, your answer shows your own perception of your own physical sexuality. What do you think? Accurate? The surfing conditions you described reveal your own hopes and expectations from sex. For example, total submersion within the churning waters is a metaphor for peak sexual pleasure. Your thoughts and feelings as you struggled upward to the surface of the water correspond to the thoughts and feelings you experience in the throes of ecstasy. The person you pictured standing on the beach is someone you show a sexual intense interest in. This doesn't necessarily indicate active sexual desire. It may simply be that you're curious about what that person is like in their most intimate and vulnerable moments. But then again, maybe that's something you're looking to find out for yourself. Another type of sand, a different type of sand, the eternal desert kind of sand. We are about to embark on a journey, a long journey that will bring us face to face with the infinite. So take a moment to prepare yourself for this eternal desert. You have been riding a camel for hours across a vast and empty expanse of seemingly endless desert. You are nearing the point of exhaustion. What words do you say to the camel that has carried you all this way? You feel like you're reaching the point of dying from thirst, but suddenly a beautiful oasis appears. You squint and see that someone you know has arrived there before you. Who is the other traveler? Who is that other traveler? As you leave the oasis, it feels like time passes so slowly. It's almost like an eternity before the lights appear, marking a town on the horizon. And then, finally, you've reached your destination. What are your feelings as you come to your journey's end? The time has come for you to part with the camel that you've traveled with for so long. Just as you dismount, a new rider climbs into the saddle to take your place. Who is the new rider? Please name someone in your life that you actually know. So now tell me, who is the new rider? And now, what the eternal desert reveals about you. The desert and the camel symbolize your journey toward personal independence. This particular scenario reveals your feelings about parting with a lover. Your answers show how you might react when the time comes for you to go your separate ways. Can you see that? The words you spoke to the camel reveal what you might say to yourself when you realize the love is lost. Did you use words of encouragement like, "We'll make it through somehow"? Or was there a hint of despair? Something like, "We are lost. This is hopeless. We're gonna die." Yeah, maybe not the best for the relationship. In psychological terms, the oasis symbolizes the key to solving one's problems. The person you encountered could be someone who has helped or comforted you in the past, or someone you might turn to in times of need. The town at your journey's end stands for the order restored to your emotions once you've recovered from your broken heart. Your feelings upon reaching the town are your true feelings about finally getting over a lost love. So exposing. And the new rider is your secret rival or someone you feel jealousy or resentment toward. Let me ask you, is the person that you named a rival in love, or maybe it's someone who broke your heart? Who is it? Rival, foe, heartbreaker. Let's ditch the land, and have some fun on a man-made playground. It's time to take a trip to the amusement park, and you are so excited to go. You've been waiting for this all week. You enter the park gate and you walk straight to the first roller coaster that you see. There's a line of people waiting their turn to ride, and you get in line behind them. How long do you wait before getting on the ride? Well, your turn finally comes, so you buckle up and the cart takes off. Now you're racing and plunging around the course. What kind of feelings does the speed bring out in you? At the most thrilling point of the ride, the roller coaster dives into a pool of water and you're drenched by the spray. What do you shout or scream at this instant? Your ride on the roller coaster was exciting, but you realize it really wasn't all it could have been. If you were going to design the perfect roller coaster, what would the experience look and be like? Next to the roller coaster is a merry-go-round. You decide to try it, but for some reason during your ride, the horse you're on breaks down and stops moving. What do you say to the horse? Perfect. In psychological terms, rhythmical up and down motions represent sexual excitement. So each of your responses to the 5 questions actually show your attitudes toward sex. The time you spent waiting in line reveals how much time you spend or would like your partner to spend on foreplay. Did you have to stand in line for hours before the main event, or did you just jump on board without waiting? Your feelings during the roller coaster ride reveal how you feel while making love, or knocking boots, or getting it on. Did you think, this is the best ride I've ever been on? Or was it more along the lines of, get me off this thing, I think I'm gonna throw up? In Jungian symbolism, water represents the source of life. Your words at the moment the roller coaster splashed into the pool show what you might say at the moment of sexual climax. Your plan for the ideal roller coaster shows your vision of the perfect sex life. The ups and downs of a roller coaster ride are an exact metaphor for the thrills and lulls of lovemaking. Was it a long, slow ascent, followed by a terrifying plunge? Maybe it was a series of acrobatic loops and 360-degree rolls. Or maybe you drew a course where you spent the whole ride turned upside down and backwards. Is it true to form? Just analyze it a little bit. Is it true to form? The horse, in psychosexual terms, is a symbol of the masculine principle. Your words to your broken down steed reflect what you might say to your partner in situations where the male energy failed to rise to the occasion. If it was something like, "It's alright, don't worry about it, it's just a ride," you have a truly gentle and forgiving nature. But if it was something like, "Come on, you stupid horse, giddy up," yikes. After all of your travels, you're settled back in at your house to recharge. As you're lounging around one Saturday afternoon, you're startled out of your reverie by the doorbell. When you open the door, you're greeted by a most unusual surprise. A pair of animal messengers has come to deliver news of your life in the future. But when you open their messages, you see that they contain very different predictions about what lies in store for you. One of the animals has a letter foretelling a life of happiness and contentment. The other only prophesies disaster and despair. Now I'm going to read you a list of animals, and you tell me which brought good tidings and which brought the omen of doom. You're going to pick a different animal for each one, and your choices are tiger, dog, sheep, parrot, or tortoise. Again, that's tiger, dog, sheep, parrot, or tortoise. Pick one for the happy news and one for the doom and gloom news. Do you have your happy animal picked out? How about your doom animal? Alright, here's what they reveal. For most people, the future is greatly influenced by their selection of a mate or a life partner. The animal messengers in this scenario correspond to your own perceptions of the type of people who are likely to bring you joy and grief. Animals are rich and complex in psychological significance and contain a range of positive and negative attributes and associations. In this scenario, the animal you choose as the bearer of the message of happiness represents the type of person you perceive as an ideal partner, while the doomsayer animal is the type of partner you fear would drag you down into the depths. So let's start with tiger. If the tiger brought you happiness, then you see yourself happiest with an ambitious and powerful mate who wants to lead and rule. If the tiger brought you doom, you dread the prospect of a vain, tyrannical partner who doesn't pull their weight around the house. Now the dog. If the dog brought you happiness, you seek unquestioning loyalty and absolute devotion most from your partner. If the dog brought you doom, you are utterly incompatible with anyone who tries to please everyone or cares what people think. If the sheep brought you happiness, you see the key to contentment as a warm-hearted, nurturing partner. If the sheep brought you doom, you fear winding up stuck with a boring home buddy. And now the parrot. If the parrot brought you happiness, nothing would suit you better than a talkative, fun-loving partner who knows how to make you laugh. If the parrot brought you doom, no one is worse for you than a chatterbox who likes to lounge and hates to work. And if the tortoise brought you happiness, your match made in heaven is serious, dependable, and reliable in the hour of need. If the tortoise brought you doom, the idea of a lifetime spent with a frustratingly slow-moving, slow-witted partner is your worst nightmare. What do you think? Were these Kokology exercises accurate? Did they peg you? I did do one of these exercises with a friend, the roller coaster one. It was hilarious, and it was eerily fitting, so I'd love to hear what your answers are. I know that you shared a few of them on the personality test video, and they were so good. Some had me in hysterics, so I really appreciate when you open up